for my lovely self-help community, all of the mindful and spiritual 5D collective, mystics and not. Welcome aboard. We are finally getting to ground in not only who you're meant to be as your whole self, the inner child adult, but also whatever it is that you got to explore through our full moon, our eclipse, and the 5D ascension energies. As you know, it's a consistent expansion, the journey of those who are self-empowered and enlightened, and that's why mindfulness and mindset practices are really fun, as well as mindsight. If you go to the Instagram page or the YouTube community, you're going to find that I shared, in celebration of this lovely day, one of my 5D mystic self-help spiritual mindful and or mindset exercise. Now, the part about how you will decide if you want to do the mindfulness exercise or the mindset one is if when you're breathing, and anytime just in general you are doing breath work and body, if you get really uncomfortable, that's a sign that you want to take yourself seriously. Okay, so mindfulness is successful when you're aware of the whole self and your trauma charges like anybody else's, and the depth of trauma goes, I'm not going to make it into that conversation right now, but Peter Levine, he is the best to use, where he shares our trauma stored in the muscles, bones, and tissues. So every time ascension energies come about, we got shit coming up, quote unquote, okay? And so taking yourself seriously is step one. Mental hygiene and mental health. And when you're doing mindset, that's thought, which is good, but mindfulness involves the body, and the body involves your inner child. So if you don't have the whole self yet, and you're not an inner child adult, this is exactly why, as Patrick Tiahan points out, people who don't take their self seriously, and then they think that Reiki or Akashic record readings or shaman, any of that which is within our lovely holistic spirituality and mystic group, is going to heal. That's not what's going to heal. It clears, yes, the energy sphere. It allows a lot and more. We all know this, the 5D mystic community. If you talk to the 4D, 3D collective, it's a whole different, okay? But I, like others who are part of our 5D collective, understand sciences and spirituality come together. So the therapist, EMDR, child parts work, and somatics, sensory motor, is that step to allowing your body to become your home. And then to have a window of welcome to all that can arise, which means you're going to stay online in your prefrontal cortex because you're aware of yourself now. So you don't want to re-traumatize. You don't want to overwhelm your nervous system to where your window of tolerance gets, broken and stuff like that. This is why I gave you two options. So please be consciously aware of yourself. Like I said, in the exact directives, I tried to say, if you start to notice that you're bothered, you disengage from focusing on breath and body completely, and you only do thought. You get a piece of paper and you start writing, and that's going to be mindset. So that's pretty straightforward because you're not involving this, and you just want to notice. And then for yourself, you choose. Obviously, I am here as a content creator, a mentor, again, a podcast host, and disclaimer, I'm not the therapist. I'm a life coach, and that's a whole different arena. So please be responsible for yourself. A lot of people, they disregard all of this. In fact, it's I find it hard to believe the first 3 years of life mean anything. Why are you bothering me with trauma shit? So that's how people react to us. And online, I'm going to always try to make sure to remind you of importance for your own self. And again, social media is social. It's not the offices. It's not the official. So you organize this, and let's make sure people, like young people too, know this. And obviously I have my content for 18 and above, but that doesn't mean that people respect that. But 18 and above, and if you are for any reason 18 and below, please still be responsible. The way that we take care of ourselves is by taking care of each other. The way we take care of each other is by taking our mind and our heart and our bodies seriously, so that we can live a true spiritual or mindful life. Is beyond the solo self, but it's only when you can have an open heart. You can only have an open heart when you will have healed whatever was broken from a potential childhood stuff and more, and da-da-da. Okay, so with that, let's get back to what I was trying to get to our message. So mysticism, lovely Sadhguru, it is not about performing miracles. Mysticism is a profound exploration of the miracle of life, which is not perceivable by the 5 senses. We go beyond. But we don't have to all be mystics. In fact, what is beautiful, although I do love that I get to be a mystic with you all, and I get to bring the woo-woo-ness, and I also get to bring tarot and Akashic record readings and past life regression and all that great toolkit business, Reiki. We have some universal love sessions. They're a playlist for personal development. Okay, so I love being able to have the best of both worlds and bring it to you. Dr. Daniel Siegel, he shares with me another definition of mysticism and mystics. This is from John O'Donoghue, and that's a trained Catholic priest from Ireland, or he was, I think he passed away, an Irish mystic. And he shares with Dr. Dan that mystics are someone or is someone who believes in the reality of the invisible. But we don't believe, I'm going to say the thing is we experience and perceive it. And so when I have an astral travel dream, when I'm having a channeled guidance, when I'm tapped into what is the intelligence, Akash relational field, it's here, my oversoul and beyond, as a divine feminine. The divine feminine picks up on all that is, but that's because of being an integrated brain and a whole heart. So this is very important. Integration means that you have no pent up anger, energy, sadness, meaning that you can distinguish my thoughts, my emotions, Maria's, my 14-month-old, my likes, my dislikes, and you separate them from whatever is coming through. And that's why integration of the brain and differentiation is very important. Dr. Daniel Siegel shared with me about integration and differentiation when I brought to him aspects that I was experiencing. I didn't tell him I'm a mystic because that's unnecessary when you're within the classroom setting with all mental health professionals and people who are there to support personal development. You're going to get the don't bring me the woo-woo spiritual stuff. And that's something understandable. Also because our quantum physicists and our neuroscientists, neurobiologists, again, there's a bunch of different subject matter experts. They bring it all together. So our clairs, they're considered spiritual gifts for those of you who know of Holy Spirit and the spirituality. So they're welcoming. The institutions that are basically not welcoming, they spread those rumors. Yoga brings demons out of you. Reiki is a bad energy. So those rumors are rumors because they've decided to put together their qualitative bibliography without considering that they are discrediting, insulting, and using Lucifer and devils and words against an entire other way of life, culture. Reiki has its own heritage, its own history. So they're really doing something that is not only egoic, it's a rigid mindset, and it's egoically rigid because of non-bilateral integration, which is where we have a adaptive child part, which is a fighter. So their empowerment justice is a trauma charge in and of itself, according to their belief system, which they're charging, and they're saying we know the truth of energy and energy healing and miracles. And so no one holds a truth on energy. If really we have to, if we're going to be grounded right here in earth, in reality, this is exactly why the 5D collective is different than 4D, 3D, because they do pseudo-aliveness. And then they have their stories. And they're doing so with those 7 of 14 charming who are armored and shut in, shame, inside their bodies, and they're prancing around with the ancient textbooks. They're all, and their words, you're going to notice them because they're divisive. And you're going to notice how the 5D collective says, okay, leave them alone. We follow laws, and they can't prove truth. They can only share with us their belief, which is a limited belief system, which is in fact fear-mongering and divisive, and it's okay that they insult. They're not insulting. It's not personal. When someone makes fun of me, they make fun of me as a tarot reader, meaning they ridicule the cards. That's just cards. It's just energy. Anyone can do it. And then they get curious as you get spot on, because, there's things that I know about human ego since I deal with it all the time, since plenty of people have. I have ego too. The difference is mine. We work with humbleness because God and Jesus taught it to me. So I learned how to be humble. And also, I care about what I create. So here's where Sadhguru, I'm going to use him again. If you truly care about what you create and you get 2 opportunities, it's even better than 1. If, on the other hand, you're suffering the process, so here's why for me, the miracle of life, God gave it to me. I love the miracle of life. I never turned my back to God once. That's the part of what I keep trying to share with you in these recent themes is that anytime somebody stubs their toe, they're like, ah, humans are evil. That's turning your back on God. In my literal inner child way of saying, God told me, hey, life's not going to be sweet and rosy, but you can keep going. If you can, blind faith in me. Do you have blind faith? Did you welcome me? Do you believe that I'm going to give you something that is, am I going to protect you? This protection thing is so simple. It's so simple. Let me read to you, in fact, something because it reminds me. Yesterday was 2 years since my grandma passed away, and I had shared a post. In fact, the exercise that I gave you today comes from that. I adapted it. Here's what I have to share. So here we bring together again human, spiritual, and spirituality elements to explore human evolution and consciousness. I do. And then if you want mentorship and the masterclass and our spiritual retreats, you come back and you write me and stuff like that. The simplest of things can brighten up the day, and our ability to love unconditionally with flaws and imperfections allows for every moment of life to be full of gratitude, bliss, abundance, and ever expanding love. When you can see how your life is the most amazing love affair alongside all your loved ones and humanity, I'm life, I'm love, I'm expanding consciousness, I'm infinite higher human potential. Love, Maria. And Seneca or Seneca, however you pronounce that. Wherever there's a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. When I get ridiculed in my tarot and my all of it, because the people who ridicule it, they're skeptics. That's what they are. Then they keep coming back though, and they keep on ridiculing you though, because that's what Cusco does. He doesn't even have at the end of the movie the capacity to admit to Pacha, and that's an adaptive child part. And so they lead the entirety of their life with a 16-year-old attitude, which is really a shame because it's not a 16-year-old attitude that is growing up. No, they stay stuck in a pent up, unbridled expression shit. It's humorous, okay? To me, Cusco, anytime I meet him, I'm like, whatever. I get to practice something different. I get to practice being Maria and not being in there. I get to differentiate, as Dr. Daniel Siegel said to me. He said, Maria, I think you're not differentiating enough. And I knew what he was saying because I learned all about differentiation from my courses with him. Interpersonal neurobiology, I need to finish that one up, but that one is amazing. And all my trauma courses. All my courses are amazing because I got to learn how to explain to you how you can calibrate your nervous system again, and use a prefrontal cortex and not be the Zen master with laundry. And so enjoy getting 2, 3, 4. You give me all the opportunities. Life is a miracle. And Rumi, goodbyes are only for those who love with their eyes, because for those who love with heart and soul, there is no such thing as separation. Feminine, masculine, they harmonize with the 5D ascension energies and spiritual self-help, mindful life, and love. When you're divine feminine, you always know this is happening. And you don't use your emotion when you're upset about masculines, because masculines, I'm so sorry to say these words, but I'm about to use the word, they're dumb and egoic and stupid and they're annoying and they're not fun. And I don't want to be around any of them when they're stupid and annoying and dumb. So I have the ones that are smart, and the ones who want to come around and are dumb. I know how I get the opportunity, again, to do Maria again and again and again in the way God, Jesus taught me to be humble, to forgive, and to remember that they do not know. And the scientists, they humble a feminine even more, because then we realize that, they haven't forgiven all of their disowned parts of self. So I got a person who's got a 1-year-old that's broken, a 3-year-old that's broken, a 16-year-old who thinks that they're doing badass shit while they're spiting the very self, which is the very home. Why the divine feminine? Because I'm the nurturer, and I'm standing in the presence of you with unconditional love, which is the very thing you didn't get, which is why it's spiting. And it also doesn't want to meet the disowned parts of self, which is why we got structural dissociation, cognitive dissonance, and the attitude deflection, which is why it's not worth my voice, because they're in what's called biological rudeness, and they can't hear me, and they will distort everything that comes out of my mouth. One, if I want to try to present to them any type of conversation, they're not in the interaction to converse. Their heart is closed, their mind is closed, their left mode is leading, and they think they know what they're doing in a pent-up survival mode energy, which is completely suffering. So they have opportunity to do life, they will be freaked. They get upset, which is exactly why a divine feminine does not waste their time with any of those who are not open to their self. So what I mean is I engage with you in the way that your teenager will show me what you believe in, because you're going to make sure I know you're right. I'm wrong. I'm the stupid woo-woo lady, remember? All of what I do is bullshit. That's it. So again, empowerment is what's amazing. As you grow more and more empowered, you don't lose your faith. You become more of your faith. And each one of us who has faith knows that we each are different. So all of my brothers and sisters, they're unique and they're special. And if they have a teenage attitude, it's okay, because what's the worst thing that can happen? What? They make me cry? Oh, I've cried plenty. I cried when I was 4. I cried when I was 8. I cried when I was I cry and cry. I'm so sensitive. Sometimes I wonder, how does a 4'9" body hold all these tears? I mean, really, that's what happens, Zen Master. You could learn mindfulness. It's really easy if you put your mind to it. And I love it because I have faith. That's why I never turn my back on you, God. I don't use the word often, but I love being raised with all of it. And then I remember when I got to move out of the 4D, the 4D that I meant, that was hilarious. Oh my God, that was even more hilarious than another moment of my life where Jesus said, okay, Maria, I'm going to pick you up. I was like, where did this come from? That's how our mind's eye works. So we laugh at ourselves, the divine feminines. And then we're like, you know what? There's no reason. You know Pinocchio, he likes his island. He's on the island. He wants to think he's doing all that shit. Yeah. We leave it alone. So you leave alone those who don't want to go to Patrick Tian, the will to heal. I'm not laughing because it's funny. He's right. They need to go to him first. Then they can come do mindfulness and everything else. And not only him, any good therapist. EMDR, it's for bilateral integration. It finds where you're looping. Child parts work. You get to own those parts of self and become whole, and you reparent, and you therefore then have an inner child who won't have a core belief of shame, defectiveness, and heartbreak and gut wrench. You stop projecting shit outside at others from your own stuff, okay? And then we have, what was it? Pain, grief. Yes, then you grieve, and then you're pissed like fuck at everything, because anger is going to be like, got denied. At least is how I learned to hear from those who are in that. And that's why then empowerment justice, I go out. And so with their entire community, they keep on allowing themselves to, and if they're ever ready, they forgive. And that's the part of where the 5D collective is at. So we're the forgivers already, which is why our quest is not to show off. It's to share the wisdom from the heart and mind and body in harmony. And so when you want to do that, you've accepted yourself and that you don't want to grow without your adolescent essence, the emotional spark, true relationships, so socially engaging from open heart. And then there's novelty and creative expression. So you like to bring science and spirituality, all of it together, and enjoy empowered people. So we want the ones who want to stick around. Okay, so when you are ready for wanting to be this, you're going to come on over here and you get to enjoy the content and hear about how amazing gooey ooey ooey is. And that's because we don't do the human suffering love narrative. We do the human love narrative because suffering is for the ones who are suffering the process of life. It's not a miracle. It's something called, I don't want to be here, and they don't want to go and get those core beliefs of shame, blame, fault, revenge healed. So their unlovability and unwantedness is from their body, not their mind. But the mind has a narrative that comes from their first 8 years of life, and then they're 16-year-old, and the 16-year-old gets bitter and upset as they choose, or anyways, they have laundry. So the forgiveness that you have and that I have and that anybody who is in the capacity of a whole 1, 2, and 3, and you're adolescent, you didn't lose your spark, and you didn't lose growing up, we get to share expansion of consciousness and enlightenment through the wisdom of forgiveness with an inner child adult that is leading with a mind, heart, body of you that is in that inner harmony and that has the capacity to be with not only healthy self-worth individuals, but you get to be that healthy self-worth mindful and or spiritual living and loving person. Practices help you to do more of it, and then your loved ones also get you to practice doing more of it, because again, when someone ridicules the mystics, please do be aware. They're skeptics. They don't have to believe. When you find intelligence, they won't ridicule you. Dr. Daniel Siegel expresses how 97% of what is going on is unavailable for scientists to observe. You can only make your best guesses and estimates, and the true scientists know how not to make blanket statements. We have so much information. The individuals who want to give you blanket statements in the way they do, they're closed off, and they're making sometimes really powerful, like sometimes I do it too, I think. I try to keep an ear out for it, but when I get really passionate, I will have this way of exaggerating. Okay, so being a listener, mindful, and then being a person, you'll be aware, okay, she's passionate about something. She's not spelling out a truth. It's because we're aware of ourselves and we're aware of truths. There's no truth in this way. Let me go share with you Sadhguru, his definition. Truth is neither a destination nor a conclusion. Truth is a living experience, and we all live a subjective experience with reality. Now, we don't have to make everything subjective, but the truth that people don't realize they're applying anytime we're exchanging thoughts is this. Okay, so again, here we have empowered people at IHP, including me, to hear with ears, to speak with mouth, and to be equanimous is really fun. Spiritual, mystic, or not, mindful, that's what it is to be expanding as a piece of consciousness, and you're enjoying more. So when we do find those who don't know that truth is a subjective experience and that then we have facts and data, okay, and they don't know how to enjoy differences of belief systems, you leave it alone because we got a Cusco in town. If they ridicule you, you get to practice being a person who knows how to love, accept, and respect the people who are suffering the process of life. They're suffering it and they don't want to do it again. And anytime unknown, unexpected, unwanted, they don't deal with it from an open heart while going with the flow. They deal with it with a broken heart. They're not in the flow. They have a story for you and you're going to hear all about it. And there's your I'm right, you're wrong, life sucks, people are mean, da 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 da, and their self-bridal expression, and they're in their survival mode, and they're in that teenager, and you got a person who's going to simply be beneath that neutrality belt in their anger. In fact, it's the vibration of courage, which they think is empowering. It's not. Pride, not. Anger. So they're completely in a 3-dimension. The fourth, with neutrality, willingness, acceptance, that is where you don't stay stopped there. If you're here, you're going to move up the ladder. If you are only going to stay in fourth, then you're going to be, basically, it's soulless. So the people who accept and they're able to navigate with a level of flow, they're an in-between. So they're not in hell, they're not human suffering love narrative, but they're not human blissful love. So they can do the love with the basics. Okay, and so you'll notice the basics, at the very least, they're happy. They're happy people. Then we have the ones who are vibing, and again, the suffering bit. But for those of you who are tuning in here, you're getting to, again, ground in who you're meant to be as yourself right now. You're getting to get into the flow of things. Welcome aboard. We'll be back with some more episodes, and I will think about what we're going to focus on particularly. But also, if you know anybody who does enjoy this type of content and they do want to join membership when we have it for more of those exercises, mindset, mindfulness, let them know about IHP. We have a audio podcast as well. It's on Spotify for podcasters, iHeartRadio, and a lot more that I'll never remember all the names of. Okay, so thanks for stopping by again. Have a wonderful day, and welcome to the community. It's an honor and a pleasure to have you here. And yes, remember, woo-woo, spiritual pseudoscience people, we're not bullshit. And self-help is not crap, but that's only if you do want to do the depths of emotions and thoughts. You don't have to. You don't need me. You can go around with a Zen master and talk about laundry or other people. But if you do want to have fun, come on over. It's really fun in here and then out there. Okay, see you soon.